Ian from RTO here. We got through to Friday. We're in the middle of a heat wave. It's really warm. Hence why we're starting early. So today is live album ranking, and we're going to do Jefferson Starship today. We've done Jefferson Airplane the other week, and they were formed in 1974 by members of Jefferson Airplane. And they were active between 1974 and 1984. Then they went into Starship, of course. So they have released 5 live albums as Jefferson Starship. So we'll have a look at those today. So coming in at number 5, released in 1999, and this was a concert. It's called Greatest Hits Live at the Fillmore, and it was recorded at the Fillmore Auditorium on New Year's Eve 1998. So the band on here are Paul Cantor on vocals and rhythm guitar, Marty Balin on vocals and acoustic, Jack Cassidy on bass, Diana Manango on vocals, Slick Aguilar on lead guitar, Chris Smith keyboards, and Prairie Prince on the drums. So this one starts off. They do 3 tracks from Futuristic Pillow. So they've got 3/5 of a mile in 10 seconds, Plastic Fantastic Lover, Somebody to Love. Yeah, they're not too bad. Diana, she's no Grace Slick, but she can sing. That's the main thing. Then we've got Crown of Creation, which is pretty brilliant. And then they go to the debut album of Jefferson Airplane for It's No Secret, from the Jefferson Takes Off. Then they do a track called The Light. Now this is from Paul Cantor's Wooden Ships. It's a really nice song. Then we go back to Realistic Pillow for a bit of White Rabbit, whatever. It's a great song. Then to Dragonfly, one of the Jefferson Starship albums, and Caroline, great track. Then we have Miracles from a Red Octopus, and Count on Me from Earth. Volunteers is another good track. Wooden Ships from Volunteers, brilliant 2 tracks. Let Me Fly, Windows of Heaven, Ride the Tiger from Dragonfly. It's okay, this album. I don't mind it. It's got a lot of the old classics. It's a bit more funky. Diana does a great job. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 4. There's an album that came out in 2001, and it's called Across the Seas of the Suns. Now it is using live recordings from 4 different venues: the Bottom Line in New York, the IMAC in Huntington, New Park in Philadelphia, and the Keswick Theatre in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Yeah. So it's Paul Cantor, Marty Balin, Slick Aguilar, Prairie Prince, Diana Mangano, Chris Smith as well. A special guest, John Forensic, on organ. This opens up with Caroline from Dragonfly, a really good version. And then from the Surrealistic Pillow, we've got She Has Funny Cars, which I love. And Diana does a pretty decent job. And then from Bark, When the Earth Moves, another good version of that. Good Shepherd from Volunteers, not bad. Today, from the Pillow album, staying with that album, they do DCBA 25. Then we go back to the Volunteers album for Eskimo Blue Day, and then How Do You Feel, which is the B-side of My Best Friend. Miracles from the Octopus, and then you've got some stuff off of Paul Cantor, Grey Slick thing called Have You Seen the Stars Tonight. It's from Blow Against the Empire, and they do Starship from that album as well. Pretty cool. Then we go to There Will Be Love from Red Octopus. Then we have Hearts, which is a single that Marty Balin released from his album Balin, and it's a really good song. I do like that song. Hey Frederick from Volunteers, another great song. Then there's a track called When I Was a Boy I Watched the Wolves, which is an album that Cantor and Slick put out called Sun Fighter. Bit of Hyperdrive from Dragonfly, excellent track. You're Bringing Me Down from the debut Airplane album Takes Off. Then the Ballad of You, Me and Pooh Neal from After Bathing at Baxter's. Nice to see that out. And then Mexico and Wooden Ships and Volunteers. Excellent track. Co-wrote by Crosby Cantner with Stephen Stills. Somebody to Love and Volunteers from the Pillow and Volunteers album. And that was the end of the show. Musically isn't too bad. It is hard hearing these songs without Grace, but the lineup's good. You know, you got Marty and Paul, so it's not a bad album. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, coming in at number 3. This was released in 2014, and it's called Soiled Dove. And it's Paul Cantor, Slick Agara, Chris Smith and Diana Manango, and it was recorded in 2003 at the Mile High Center, Denver, Colorado. I'm sure our good friend Richard S. knows where that is. It's a semi-acoustic show offering a stripped-down versions of some of them great songs, which is absolutely brilliant. So you've got Mountain Song, which comes from Paul Cantor's Rock and Roll Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra. Really is a good, nice version. Wooden Ships and Volunteers sounds so good as like a semi-acoustic. Brilliant track. Good Shepherd from Volunteers again sounds good. Then we got a track called Sketches of China. Now this is just a single released by Paul Cantor, Grace Slick and David Freeberg in 1973. Then we have a really good stripped down version of White Rabbit. I mean, Diana is probably her best vocal on that track from Suristic Pillow. Excellent version of it. Baby Tree, another track off the Blows Against the Empire from Paul Cantor. Then we have this thing called Santiano. This is a very traditional song that Paul Cantor put some lyrics to, and it's not too bad. Leave this song from the Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra from Paul Cantor. Another excellent track. Now go and check that album out because it is pretty good. I Am a Dreamer, which is a Sandy Denny number. It's lovely. And it's a little bit of a tribute to Sandy. Then from After Bathing at Baxter's, a really great stripped down version of the Ballad of You, Me and Pooh Neal. Hyperdrive from Dragonfly sounds good. Blows Against the Empire Suite, really good. Then we've got Being Young from Dragonfly, and they end up with Surrealistic Pillows, Somebody to Love. Now I like this. The songs are really stripped back, very simple, but an enjoyable album to hear some of these great songs in a very simple form. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 2. Released in 1995, and it is called Deep Space Virgin Sky, and it was recorded at the House of Blues in West Hollywood in 1995, and it was a benefit memorial for violinist Papa John Creech, who had died in 1994, and the proceeds went to his family. So playing on here, we have got Jack Cassidy on basses, Marty Balin on vocals and acoustic guitar, Paul Cantor lead vocals, Prairie Prince on drums, Slick Agara on lead guitar, Tim Gorham on keyboards, Darby Gould on the vocals, with Grace Slick making an appearance on Somebody to Love, Lawman, Wooden Ships, White Rabbit and Volunteers. Mel Saunders keyboards on John's other, and David Lefam on violin on John's other. So this one opens up from the Windows of Heaven album, sorry, Shadowlands. Brilliant song. A great Paul Cantor song. Then we have Ganja of Love, which is off Marty Balin's solo album, the same title. It's a really good track. It's might have to go and look at some of these solo efforts from these members, because they are really good, and that's a really good song. Then we have Dark Ages for World Entertainment at War, which is a thing that they got involved with. And then I Am Fire, which is from Paul Cantor's Wooden Ships. Fantastic little track. Then we have a track called Women Who Fly by Nonna Hendrix off the Skin Diver album that came out in 1989. Then we have Gold, which is a Rowan Brothers song from 1972. Then we have The Light from Paul Cantor's Wooden Ships. Excellent. Crown of Creations on the egg. Brilliant version of that. Count Me In from Earth. Miracles from Red Octopus. And then we get Lawman with Grace singing Wooden Ships, Somebody to Love and White Rabbit. Pretty decent album. Lovely to see Grace coming in at the end and gives it a good atmosphere. So I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 7.3. But my favourite album, and it's a album that was recorded in 1975, and it's called Live in Central Park. Marty Balin, Grace Slick, Paul Cantor, David Frielberg, Craig Chiquiko and Pete Sears, John Babata and Papa John Creech with a band. So that you get the intro, Ride the Tiger from Dragonfly, which is really good. And that goes in to a few stage announcements and Fast Buckle Freddy. There were people hanging about in trees and they wouldn't let the concert go on. It was really crazy from Red Octopus. Then you get The Witcher from Dragon Pie, and they're still going on about the people getting out the trees. That's pretty good. Caroline from Dragonfly, which is excellent. Then they do a track called Drive Me Crazy, which is an old bluesy number from Walter Donaldson, recorded first in 1930. Then we have a track from the Papa John Creech album, one of his solos, called Papa John's Down Home Blues, and it's brilliant. I love that track. Play on Love from Red Octopus, another stunning track. Better Lying Down, which is Grace Slick, that song from Manhole, pretty cool. Then we have You Seen the Saucers? It's a single released by Jefferson Airplane back in 1970. It was really good to hear that one out, getting some love. Come to Life from Dragonfly, excellent track. White Rabbit, of course, you can't do a gig with these without White Rabbit. And then Sweeter Than Honey from Red Octopus, another stunning track. Somebody to Love, classic, and Volunteers. Considering this is recorded outside, it's a damn good quality, and I just love all the, get out the trees, they won't let us play, and all that. So this was the start of the new era of Jefferson Starship, So it's a pretty good concert. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. So there we go. There's a little bit of Jefferson Starship. It's funny, last night when I saw this Love Hurts with Steve Steinman, first track they did was a Starship track, and they did We Built This City. Quite ironic, really. So there we go. Coming up next, we've got 2 new album reviews, and the first one we're going to do is Neil Young, Talking to the Trees, which he does with Chrome, and then after that we've got the new album from King Gizzard, Wizard, Lizard, Phantom Island. So join us for that. Bye for now.